Although cancer was difficult to deal with, I've chosen not to let it define me. And so it's really still kind of hard for me to call myself a cancer survivor. I figured I could sit around and cry about it, or I could just move ahead through treatment. And I have taken an attitude that it did not need to change my life dramatically. I even asked Louis the other day how he felt as we were going through this, and Louis is my 16-year-old. Now that it's done and over with, it's a little bit easier to talk about. And he said, well, I knew you were going to be sick for a while, but it was only going to be for a while. And that's the attitude that we took. It's my 4-day cancer. I found out about it on Thursday with the colonoscopy. We were pretty sure then that it was cancerous and needed to have surgery. And on Monday I had it removed, and my 4-day cancer. I am busy. I am a busy woman. I work a professional level job as a landscape architect. I manage the Omaha office landscape architecture studio. We are doing projects all over the Midwest, from Wichita to Missouri to Omaha, Bellevue, Council Bluffs. After the colonoscopy, and we were fairly certain that I was going to have to do things that I wasn't prepared to do, really. I started crafting an email to my partners at work, not to all of the people at work. It wasn't a blanket email, but it was to the board of directors, essentially, and my partners. And so I wrote the very basics, factual parts that were easy for me to put in there. And then I looked at the subject line of that email and said, what on earth am I going to put in the subject line? And at the end of the email, I had started to tell a little bit of a story, because I am a storyteller, and a positive storyteller. And so I decided to tell them about the only piece of clothing that was left on my body during that colonoscopy was a pair of striped socks. And the nurses and doctors had commented on it. And so I relayed that in the email. I told the little story of the striped socks. And so that is what I put in the subject line of the email. Well, you know how it is with email, that comes back to you. So the response from any of my partners was regarding striped socks. So we sort of substituted the whole striped socks for cancer, and that actually worked really pretty well. So during surgery, I'm at the hospital. I told people, do not send me flowers, because I was really kind of fearful that I might end up with 6 or more bouquets of flowers sitting in my hotel room, dying. So they all decided to send me socks. Striped socks, polka dot socks, colorful socks, crazy socks, 42 pairs of socks. When I'd get to the clinic, I'd take my shoes off and get settled into the chair and take a picture of my socks with my phone and post it on Facebook that, you know, the 7th treatment was done and the 8th treatment. Well, I'm a storyteller. I have found that the worst things in my world are easier to talk about it the more I talk about it. If I talk about something 5 or 6 times, it becomes a pretty easy story and becomes part of my repertoire instead of my emotional baggage. So at work, when people asked me questions, I answered them and probably told them more than they expected to receive as an answer. But, you know, everybody's been touched by cancer, everybody. And it's an unknown sort of thing. How do you treat it? How do you deal with it? So sharing that story can be a real positive thing.